we call it break training, na parang binato daw ng bricks yung legs mo, kaya siya tinawag na brick training. Ganun yung feeling. So resisting fatigue to do that run. So that's why, yun nga, part of the brick training is actually building fatigue resistance, wherein you are resisting fatigue, which is technically similar to stamina. The 3 disciplines of triathlon requires stability, anti-rotation, and rotational core.
So, hindi dapat biglain, right?
Yes.
Correct.
So, yeah, for example, like 30 minutes per day lang muna na running. Okay, you can mix it running and walking until, okay, mukhang recovered naman ako. And then 1 hour cycling because hindi naman siya ganun ka-heavy sa joints or sa muscles because there's less eccentric motion. And then progress slowly, like go with the rule of 5%. So if I can progress 5% per week, that's actually a good rule. But it's not always the case that you increase distance or time by 5%. Pwedeng 3% lang. So you can increase by 5% each week and then baba.
Yes.
And then progress 5-5, baba. So
put in recovery there dun sa training program.
Recovery weeks wherein mas mababa yung load.
In terms of equipment, ano mga basic equipment na kailangan?
Hindi naman kailangan anything fancy. Like, I would suggest always, of course, a good pair running shoes na hindi beaten kasi of course we want that support. And of course, ako lagi is if you know already a pair of running shoes, always try to chase that pair or that series of model because you already found a shoe that works well with your stride and how you run. So if that's a comfortable, walang masakit sa katawan masyado or even sa foot, that's a good model. On my experience, unfortunately, it happened to me. Just to share to the viewers, sir, na there are some models na ma-phase out. Okay, or they discontinue na nila yung model na yon. So another challenge of looking for that. So usually kami na if you're a heavy mileage runner or duathlete, triathlete, it's always wise to have a second pair of the same model na pang-abang. Okay. Na pang-abang. If you know already that okay by 8 months upod na to, okay, you already have that second pair. And going on cycling, I would suggest something very kasi di kailangan the newest and the best. Pwede pa rin naman yung traditional way. Di kailangan naka-electronic na group set. Okay pa rin ang mechanical.
Siguro ito, last question. Because multi-sport is really a serious matter. Is it necessary for an athlete to have themselves medically cleared?
Yes. Sir, I would definitely suggest and agree to that. Always seek medical clearance. Because the heart will have to pump way above the common that we're used to. And of course, the benefits of exercise outweighs the risks always. But of course, if we take it to the extreme, it's also on the other sense, other end of the spectrum. So medyo mag-aalala din ako. So for some clients, we actually ask for medical clearance from their doctors, especially on ultra endurance event, which is more than 3 hours. So, and of course, wala namang problem to always self-assessment like PARQ, answering those honestly as much as possible.
Yes.
Nothing beats an executive checkup. Of course, there have been reports of people dying. Okay, during the sport that we love.
Yes.
Pero we try to minimize those as well.
Yes.
So And malaking bagay ang stress. Of course, for the past 2 years, it's the uncertainty. Tapos when we engage in this thing, we don't know what are the underlying conditions that we have developed over the past 2 to 3 years. Kaya I always have it checked with the doctor and then manage whatever we can.
Okay. Thank you for this interview.
Thank you rin, Sir Mike. I mean, it's an opportunity also.
Ayun mga Cardi, narinig natin si Mr. Saul Sibayan sa kanyang mga tips na pagpasok pala sa multi-sport at hindi biro. Hindi ito biglang na-desisyonan mo lang na gusto mo sumali sa multi-sport kasi exciting. Well, una, talaga exciting siya. Okay? Pero nakaka-nervous din. So, hindi siya biro. Kaya kailangan kailangan pa-check up. So, bago nga tayo nag-duathlon, nagpa-check up ako nun. Medical check-up plus yung blood work. And just to make sure that my system is working well and we don't encounter any health problems. Pangalawa is the proper training. We mentioned that try to make a schedule muna and then progressively. Okay? So, kailangan dahan-dahan din ang pag-progress natin ng ating training. So, kung tumatakbo tayo, let's say, halimbawa, for the first week, 3 kilometers, then second week, 5 kilometers. Okay? You can either increase by distance or you can either increase by time. Importante doon is spacing because multi-sports, it's more of endurance and stamina. Okay? And then, after that, of course, the equipment. You should have the necessary equipment. So if for the run, you should have good running shoes, socks, good running clothes that has proper ventilation para hindi ka dehydrate. And then for the bike, of course, your bike must be working well from brakes to components to tires, pressure, and everything. Okay, so at least everything must be well planned and perfect. All right. It was a very exciting event. I'd like to congratulate again the organizers and the sponsors, the photographers of that event. So, sa susunod ulit natin pagkikita. Okay? So, huwag kalimutan i-like, share, subscribe, at hit the notification button. Okay? So, ride safe. And I will add this now to our ending. Let's go out and get some exercise, but safely. Observe traffic rules. And God bless.
Kailangan ba magpa-check up pag sasali sa mga sports?
Sports, kailangan ng check-up, Mikey, depende yan.